Hi everyone. I think we're now broadcasting. I think we're live. So I'm Jennifer Corcoran. I'm here today to help you to raise your visibility on LinkedIn. This is a recorded session, so I do go very fast and I cram in a lot of information. So I'd urge you all, if you've got lots of questions that don't get answered today, you might want to look at the replay after. And if you've got questions during today's session, if you could put them in the particular Q&A box. You can use the chat box as well, but the chat would be great for just general chat. So by all means, go into the chat box now, say where you're dialing in from, whether it's London, Devon, New York, just so we know where you've come in from. And you can share your LinkedIn URLs in the chat box. That would be great as well. So you can go away and start connecting with each other. But if you've got particular questions as we're going along, can you put them in the Q&A box? And that way, Ellie from We Are the City, she can help me with the questions at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to get going because I have loads of slides and loads of content to share with you today. So first things first, if we're not already connected, this is me on the screen. That's my LinkedIn URL. I'd love if you could send me a personalized connection request and just let me know that you jumped onto this webinar today, and I will connect with you as soon as I get off. I also have a company page for my business called My Super Connector. You might want to give that a follow. I share information about events like this and training and tips. And I've also got a LinkedIn group called Networking Tips with My Super Connector. So that's a safe space for us to continue the conversation after today. And if you've got any questions you're left hanging, by all means, come into the group and ask me the questions there. So roughly the webinar today is going to be about 45 minutes of training. I'm going to go as fast as I can. Then I'm going to touch briefly on next steps at the end for those of you who may need more one-to-one help on LinkedIn. And last but not least, Q&A, which is my favorite. So like I said, don't be shy, stick your questions in the Q&A box as we're going along, and I'll get to them at the end. Ellie said some of these sessions have overrun. So in my diary, I have it for an hour. And I want to answer as many questions as possible. Like if you have to kind of head off early after 45 minutes, that's fine. You might want to look at the replay for the questions at the end. So let's get going. So I'm curious as to why you showed up here today. And it's probably one of these reasons. Maybe you're curious yourself about how LinkedIn can work for you and your own brand. Maybe you're sick and tired of wasting time and resources trying to beat the LinkedIn algorithm, and you've been creating content that's not getting in front of the people you want to see it. Perhaps you've heard that building a personal brand online can drive results, but you're not really sure where to get started when it comes to LinkedIn. As a professional, or maybe you're a small business owner listening in today, you don't have a large marketing team or advertising budget, so you want to get the word out about your services or products if you have products. Or perhaps you've put a lot of work into your business and career to date, but you're not being recognized as the expert that you are. So if you want to, these are the kind of things you can stick in the chat box. You can put in A, B, C, D, E, or you can put in all of them, just so you all know why you're here today. And I just wanted to show you briefly this stat up on the screen. So this was taken at the end of May 2020. And as of that time, there were 690 million members in LinkedIn across 200 countries and regions worldwide. You can see in the UK, there's over 28 million users of LinkedIn. In the States, nearly 170 million. And I imagine when we come out of lockdown, it'll be up to over 700 million. Now, you might think there's over 2 billion Facebook users. Why do I need to be on LinkedIn? Well, the people on LinkedIn are in a professional business mindset, and it's the largest social network for professionals. So the people on LinkedIn, they have the money to invest in your products and services, and they're in that professional mindset, whereas not everybody in Facebook's in that mindset. So it's a super powerful tool, and 1 out of every 3 professionals in the world is on LinkedIn. And as I've said, you've got a third of the UK's population using it, so it's a really popular tool. This is what most of us think of LinkedIn. We think of an online CV, we think of spammy salespeople in our inbox, we think of recruiters reaching out, human resources, career services, and corporate. So essentially we think of people in suits. But LinkedIn is a lot more than that. And I'm going to touch on that during this presentation. And I just wanted to just break it down as to what exactly LinkedIn is, because I know a lot of you will be at different stages listening in today. So firstly, it is an information-rich database of connections, company pages and groups, and it's searchable by both Google and LinkedIn's algorithm. Google ranks LinkedIn really highly because it's a really credible platform. It is a networking tool where you can see mutual connections with third parties. It's a brilliant place to network. It's a fantastic platform for growing your personal brand and for establishing yourself as an expert. It's also a platform for showcasing endorsements and recommendations, so social proof. And it's a great way for potential clients or people to find what they need via either LinkedIn search. So that's the little search bar up on the top left-hand corner. You can find what you want in groups as well. And you can also find people via content. So via your first degree connections, your second and third degree. So LinkedIn's not just about the people that you're immediately connected to. It's very far reaching, and it's a very small world when you actually start tapping into your second degree connections. I've never had to go as far as a third to get to meet the person I wanted to. So I would just urge you all today to think bigger of your network, because it's about tapping into my network and your network's network. And there are so many opportunities on LinkedIn. And I have great news. Excuse me for a sec, folks. I'm just going to take a quick sip of tea. My mouth's gone a bit dry. I don't know why. So LinkedIn works for all businesses, all industries, and all career stages. It's not just for people in suits. If you're a business owner, it's for B2B, it's for B2C, it's for sole traders, it's for, if you're running a cafe or a hair salon, it's for absolutely everyone. It's not just for people in corporate. And as I mentioned before, why I recommend LinkedIn to my clients, 1 out of every 3 professionals in the world is on LinkedIn. They're there in that business mindset. And LinkedIn is the #1 channel at the moment to distribute content. And it's the most effective social media platform for B2B, so business to business lead generation. There are many benefits of using LinkedIn. So these are a few. So the first is to network, and I'm going to touch on this in a while. And you can network in 3 main ways on LinkedIn, which is via the home feed, via LinkedIn Messenger, which is those emails, and in LinkedIn groups. You can also use LinkedIn to do research, gather market intelligence. As I said, it's an amazing database, really. You can develop brand awareness, you can generate leads, and you can increase sales. I just caveat here that you don't sell on LinkedIn. As I said, you generate the leads and then you try and get the conversations off LinkedIn, and that's where the selling happens. You can also use LinkedIn to find new partners and businesses to collaborate with, to find a new employer or potential employees. And you can establish yourself as an expert and a thought leader in your field on LinkedIn by posting on your preferred topic, and also by answering questions or even with simple comments. And I'm curious, this is where I'd like you to use the chat box. I'd like to know in the chat box, where are you in the pyramid of success when it comes to LinkedIn? Are you absent? Are you a lurker? Are you a networker? Or are you an influencer? So if you're absent, you've got a profile, but you never really log on, okay? If you're a lurker, you are on it, but you're lacking confidence. Maybe you feel a bit intimidated, you're a bit fearful, or you don't have the time. So you are watching, you're lurking, but you're not actively engaging. Perhaps you're a networker, so you are actually engaging on it. You are becoming productive and you're beginning to see the results and influence of using LinkedIn. Or maybe you are an influencer, and I have had other trainers and influencers on, and you are posting engaging content consistently. So I've got good news for all of you. Hopefully you're all going to jump up on the ladder. So if you are absent, I'm about to educate you and give you some awareness about the benefits of using LinkedIn and networking on LinkedIn. So hopefully you'll jump up. Even if you become a lurker, at least you've jumped up. If you are a lurker, I'm about to give you some strategies, skills, and hacks which will enable you to work smarter. So hopefully you will feel a bit more confident and you'll become a networker. If you are already networking, I would urge you to join a community of engaged members to support consistency. As I mentioned at the start, I have my own LinkedIn group. So does We Are the City. There are two groups you should be in because they're groups full of like-minded peers. So join those groups and start looking at the people in those groups and reaching out. And if you're an influencer, or if you want to become an influencer, you really need to find your purpose, so your why, to make a difference. Otherwise, you're never really going to get to that status, and you really need to dig deep and figure out what is that purpose, what is that difference that you want to make. So yeah, stick that in the chat box. I'd be curious later on to know how many lurkers, how many networkers, who was absent, who's an influencer. And today I'm going to talk to you mainly about the 2 Ps. So how to master and raise your visibility on LinkedIn. So the 2 Ps for me are profile and participate. You could touch on a third P, which is people. So the first P is your profile. And I believe that profile is the bedrock of everything you do on LinkedIn. So many people kind of rush to pushing out content or to connecting, and they just want to generate those sales or, get a new job. But you really need to have a solid foundation first. So you need to optimize your LinkedIn profile with 2 things really. So with branding and with keywords. So the keywords will enable you to come up in search. So just as you would tailor your CV if you were applying for a job, you need to tailor your LinkedIn profile and have those right words throughout it. And you know yourself, first impressions count. You do need that branding to stand out as well. And I would urge you all later on today to go away and explore your privacy and settings. I mean, so many people who've never looked in the back ends of their profile, and that's why they're afraid or intimidated by LinkedIn, because they're not really sure what it's about. And I think if you go in and learn, to turn off certain features or turn on, you'll feel more in control of your account. And then once you've got your profile up and ready, you're kind of ready to go, then it's all about how are you going to participate. And everybody is different. Everybody networks differently. Introverts, extroverts, we're all different. So it's about you figuring out what is the best way for you. So you're going to feel relaxed and comfortable. It's not going to feel icky, and you're actually going to want to use LinkedIn. So the 3 main ways you can participate, you might want to do a combination of the 3 or just focus on 1 or 2. So the first way is via the home feed. So that is through posts, through videos, articles, comments, and documents. And when I say documents, I mean like a branded PDF document that it could be a blog or a post, but you've made it look a bit more pretty in a branded document. You could create something like that on Canva. And I've mentioned comments, and comments are a super powerful way to show up. If you are an introvert and you're not ready to put yourself out there with a post or an article or a video or a document, you can show up by doing simple comments and giving back to your network. So you look through your home feed, you see some interesting posts, you like them, and you leave a simple comment. And every time you leave that simple comment, you're leaving a digital footprint, a digital business card. People can see your headshot and your headline. So you're showing up, you're networking, and you're giving back to your network. So simple comments can be so effective. People are nosy, curious, call it what you will. They do read comments, and I've had people quote my comments back to me word for word. So always filter yourself, censor yourself when you're writing that comment. They're not throwaway comments. Always put your best foot forward. And even doing simple comments can enable people to reach out, to connect with you, can enable opportunities. I've seen some comments get like 100 likes, never mind the post above. So comments are a great way to start to show up. If you are that lurker, this is the first step, really, commenting and giving back to your network. So another way to participate, and if I had to choose one of the 3, I would choose Messenger every day. And when I was an employee, this was the main way I used LinkedIn. I had a good profile and I used Messenger. So when it comes to Messenger, you can send 2 types of messages, either a one-to-one message or a group message. And there are 3 styles of messages that you can send, and most people only know about one. So I'd love to know in the chat box, who is sending audio voice notes on LinkedIn and who is sending video messages in Messenger? Or are you all just doing written? So feel free to put like written, audio, video, just so you can all see what you're using. Now, audio messages and video messages can only be sent via the app, the phone. So you can't send them from the desktop. An audio voice note is very similar to WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. It's capped at 60 seconds, and the video messages are capped at 2 minutes. So if anyone's listening here today, if we're already connected or we're just about to connect, if you want to test out these features, please, I'm up for it. I'm happy to do audio or video messages with you later on today, just so you can see how it works. And they are super powerful. Nobody has ever ignored an audio message from me or a video message from me, but they have ignored written messages. Not all of them, but people are a bit, I don't know, fed up really with being bombarded with messages. And even if it's not a salesy message, they have in their head, oh, what's this person saying to me? Whereas a simple audio or video message has a completely different effect. So I'd love to know for you to share in the chat box, have you ever tried that? And I hope you're all going to try it after today. And the last way to participate, as I mentioned before, groups. Okay, groups are a great way to build your network. I've built half of my network through good people in groups, and you can post in the home feed of a group. You can ask questions. Again, similar to the home feed, you can put, comments down. If you're in a local group or a group of peers or members of an association, it is a great way to stand out. And look at the people in groups. It's not all about the home feed. When I go into any group, I click on the members at the top, have a little cyber stalk, if you want to call it. And if they look like a good person or interesting, I reach out to connect with them. So it's all about the people as well. Don't forget, there is a new feature as well. This was only launched in May, a new polling feature. I would say use it kind of sparingly. I think if you're polling every day, you'll drive people mad, and be strategic with your polls. Don't poll for the sake of polling. People will, they'll just move on. So, because I did this poll recently and I asked, what kind of training have you done, whether it's an online course, attended a workshop, had a one-to-one or no training. So this is interesting research for me, but it also enables me to reach out to these people. Once the poll has expired, I can click and see who were all the people who voted. And I can actually say, oh, thank you so much for engaging in my recent poll. I can see that you have never done any training to date. Would you like access to this free webinar? So it's all about following up after the poll as well. So the poll itself is interesting research, you get the results, but it's also about who actually engaged with this poll, because you have a nice opportunity to have a conversation with them. Even if they only took a second to vote, they engage with you, so why not follow up with them as well? So it is a good feature, but use it wisely and use it strategically and sensibly. No silly polls. Okay, so the secret to mastering your visibility and raising your visibility on LinkedIn is giving. It's all about giving back to your network. It's not about the me on the home feed. And I love this quote from Dale Carnegie, which really spells it out. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. And I think when you think it's about other people, it makes it easier for a lot of people as well, because they kind of get over themselves and it's not about what they're going to be constantly posting about. And when you are thinking of other people, every time you go to post or engage, always ask yourself, so what? Is this adding value? If you're about to click on a post or an article, how is this helping my network? If it's too self-promotional, don't do it. Censor yourself. So it's all about the giving. Like any networking, whether it's face-to-face, and this applies to all social media, it's all about giving back to your network. So ask yourself, how can you give back to them? Whether that's giving great value, whether that's introducing people in the back end, which is why I got the name My Super Connector. I'm always introducing people if I think they've got a synergy. I tag people in on posts if I think that's a post relevant for them. If I see something of interest, I share it with them, maybe in Messenger. I give people endorsements. That's a nice way to reach out to people you work with, colleagues, peers, partners, suppliers, clients. It's a nice way to start a conversation. If I've worked with anyone who's done a great job, I give them a recommendation. It's a nice way to reach out. It makes that person feel good. So ask yourself, how can you give to people on LinkedIn? And when it comes to LinkedIn, it's all about the LinkedIn 3. So whether this is your profile, your content, or your connection strategy, you need to have the 3 C's. So clarity, be super clear about what you're about and what you want, what you're trying to achieve. You need to be consistent, the same way you would be consistent with a face-to-face event, whether you show up weekly or daily or monthly. It's all about building that know, like, and trust factor. And you need to be community focused. It's not all about you, okay? And you might ask yourself, why is your personal brand necessary? Especially if maybe you're an employee listening here today and you think, well, I'm not a company brand. I'm not Nike. I'm not Amazon. I don't really have a brand. But the thing is, your personal brand is your business, and you all have a personal brand, whether you're aware of it or not. It's basically, this is a quote from Jeff Bezos, the CEO from Amazon: your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So it's not about what you say about yourself. So you can say, oh, I'm amazing, I'm this, I'm that. It's actually about what other people say about you. So it's so important to have a personal brand that is authentic and working for you. And I would urge you all to be yourself on LinkedIn. There is nothing worse when you meet someone in real life and they don't match that person online. And I'll just give you a giggle. Like, I know from personal experience, I met my husband online on a dating site. And prior to meeting him, you know, I met one guy, and when we met in real life, the photo was 10 years old. I thought he had brown eyes, he had blue eyes. And I know it's not a big deal, but it literally, he was not representing himself physically the same, and also personality wise was not the same at all. He'd come across quite jokey and funny, whereas in real life he was very serious and quiet. So be you on LinkedIn. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Speak in your own voice. It's, you know, just be you, be a human being. Like I said, filter yourself slightly, always put your best foot forward, but be you, and don't compare yourself to anyone else, because that's when you get imposter syndrome. That's where you're lurking, you get blocked. Your USP is there's only one of you in the world. So be you, okay? And then when people meet you in real life, it's the same person, it's the same voice, and then you build that trust. So what is your personal brand? It's your reputation, it's your credibility, it's your personality, it's your online presence as well. You can have a presence online, and that's, as an introvert, that's where I love social media and why I love LinkedIn. Even though I'm chatty now and I can be chatty on a webinar, essentially I am quite a quiet person and quite introspective, but I feel like I fully put myself on LinkedIn and I can get my voice in the room. And you can also convey an energy online as well, which is great. So I'm just going to briefly touch on my journey as both an employee and a business owner, so you can see how I use LinkedIn in both instances. So this is me as a PA. I studied English and French back in Dublin many moons ago. And when I graduated, I didn't really know what I wanted to be honest. I didn't really want to be a journalist. I didn't really want to be a teacher. So it's quite ironic. I now am constantly writing online and teaching people. So I fell into the world of admin. Back over in Dublin, I worked on a magazine. I was an editor's assistant on a technology magazine. But when I moved to London, I was unable to break into publishing. So I rebranded myself as a high-level executive assistant. And I started doing a lot of face-to-face networking in London. And I lived in London for 17 years. And I built my network, which is where I came across We Are the City. And slowly but surely, I came across LinkedIn and started using it. And as an employee, I used it to connect with my colleagues, first locally, then nationally, then globally, then my peers, like my PA community, and again, locally, nationally, globally, suppliers. So I was connecting to a lot of hotels and restaurants, people who could help me do my job better. And I used it mainly in Messenger. You know, for many years I had a good profile, I had good message out there, and I had a good headshot, good branding, and mainly just used Messenger and built my network up slowly but surely. And then over time I got a bit fed up of the perception of the PA role, that we were all just tea and typing, and I was like, there's a lot more to us. There's a lot of PAs who are graduates or with MBAs, or they're helping to run companies. So I started to champion the PA profession. So I started to do posts and blogs, not videos. I'm not crazy on videos. So I started to show up really and comment and get engaged and find my voice on LinkedIn. So a few years ago, in the top left, I was given the title of the most networked PA in London. And that was mainly because of my usage of LinkedIn. I was using it when I was going to any events, any networking events, any conferences. If I could get the delegate list in advance, I was connecting with people. And when I go into any event, I was always greeted. Somebody always knew me. And as an introvert, it took away that icky kind of, oh, here I am, who am I? And it was great. People already bought into me. That's the power of LinkedIn. And using it from my job, as I said, I connected to loads of restaurants and hotels. And I can remember being in the Savoy Hotel with my brother once having coffee, and the manager's coming over and saying, "Hi, Jennifer, blah, blah, blah." And I had never met him online, but he knew me. We were connected on LinkedIn, and he knew my photo, my headshot. And I kind of reserved the space through him. And that's super powerful when you can go in and the head of the Savoy knows who you are because you've connected with them on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to quickly move on from this slide. I don't want to bore you to tears with my life, but literally my confidence grew and I went on to win a National Rising Star. True, we are at the city. Thank you, Vanessa. And then I went on to win a global Super Achiever Award from Pitman Training because of my usage of social media. And I was ranked as the #1 PA in the UK online. And I'm quite proud. I was actually ranked over, it was actually a global list. As you can see, I was over David Gandhi, supermodel's assistant. That's quite, considering I was in financial services, it's not quite as exciting as David Gandhi. And at one time, Obama's PI was in the top 10. She was about #9. So yeah, I really used it to raise my brand. And then fast forward a few years, I actually quit my job, and what happened was my back went. I had back surgery. I had to get one of my discs out, and it just forced me to stop. I just got divorced as well, so I literally was forced to stop, take time out to think, and literally was flat on my back after the surgery for 30 days. And at that point in time, I'd had the luck to meet Vanessa from We Are the City, and I had actually won a place on a workshop of Vanessa called Project You. And she had encouraged me to use social media to find my voice. And I was using it mainly, in my role, and I'd won all these awards, but it was a hobby for me. And I was using it in a voluntary role just to help other PAs. But I realized during my sick leave, this is my passion, this is my why, to help other people to feel confident online, because it slowly dawned on me, not everybody likes to put themselves out there. Not everybody embraces, connecting. And I thought this is something I can help people with. So I quit my job and set up my company, my Super Connector, and I've been using it in pretty much the same way. So I do a combination of the home feed, messenger, and groups. Once again, a solid profile. Now as a business owner, my profile is more customer centric. So when you look at it, it's not really, like an employee's, whereas an employee's is more, how you can help that company, a list of your duties and your skills. Now as a business owner, mine is a bit more customer centric as to how I can help customers and the clients I've worked with. And I've managed to raise my profile again, not by doing any video, like mainly by using Messenger really. And I've been lucky enough to go on and win a few awards. I won the title of social media influencer in 2018. And 2 months ago, I was lucky to be ranked #1 in a list called the LinkedIn ROCKSTARS. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that list in a few slides, because I think the ethos behind that list will really help you all on LinkedIn. So, it feels amazing to have kind of transitioned from that PA to a LinkedIn trainer and have got the respect from other people and my peers. And I did it by, just being myself, being consistent, being social. That's the main thing. I actually reach out and chat to people. I'm not passive. I intentionally build my network as well. I find people through search. I look in groups. So I'm always growing and learning. If I can do this, absolutely anyone can do this. I never stepped out of my comfort zone really until the age of 40. I never entered an award until I was about 40. So if I can kind of show up, anybody can. You might not believe me that I'm an introvert, but I am. Like literally for years as a PA, I wouldn't even talk in meetings. I was like zipped, so if I can find my voice on LinkedIn and get it working for me, absolutely anyone can. But the secret to, kind of getting traction is being visible, which is why I want to help you to all raise your profiles today. And just today, obviously I can't go into loads, but I'm going to give you 3 simple LinkedIn profile tweaks that will really help you to stand out and give you more of that X factor. So this is whether you're on the desktop or on the phone app, first impressions count, and that's what I'm going to help you with today. So these 3 tweaks I'm going to teach you are going to help you to position your brand with clarity and confidence, to attract the right audience and opportunities, to help you to grow real life influence, to generate visibility and leads, to build authority and expertise, to connect to decision makers and action takers. And we want action takers on LinkedIn. We want people taking action, and to create a career or business that you love. And I'm going to literally be talking about the top part of your profile, which is going to be the cover banner, your headshot, and your headline, the first things you see at a glance. And when it comes to anything on your profile or any post you put out or any message you send, you need to be aware of these 4 principles of copywriting, AIDA, sorry. So attention, you need to grab people's attention. You need to generate some kind of interest in them so that they want to read on. Then you need to spark a desire with them, which is going to result in action. And the 3 ways to make an impact, as I've said, they're cover banner, headshot, and headline. And then people will hopefully read on. A lot of people get hung up on their summary, and don't get me wrong, your summary is super important, but if you don't catch them with the cover banner, the headshot, and the headline, they're not even going to look at your summary. So the cover banner, otherwise known as a cover photo, is that big area behind your head. A lot of you might be on here today and you mightn't have one. You might just have that generic blue. And I would urge you all to go away and create some kind of cover banner. So you can see mine is branded. It's in my colors, navy and gold. You've got my logo there. You can see what I do. I'm a LinkedIn specialist. I've broken down my services, one-to-one, online program, workshops, and I've shared my website URL. So think, what do you want people to know at a glance about you? This is your West End banner, your Broadway banner. It's your advertising billboard. What do you want people to know about you at a glance? Okay. Your cover photo is your opportunity to showcase your personality and to warm up your audience. Okay. Check out Canva if you want to make one yourself. There are templates there. If you are graphically challenged like myself, get a graphic designer or a virtual assistant who specializes in graphics to make one for you, okay? But definitely get one. So I'm going to jump on to your photo headshot today. Your headshot needs to be 400 by 400 pixels. Don't worry too much about this. When you go to load it, it will prompt you. Now, this is a Jennifer thing. It's not really a LinkedIn thing. I believe that your entire face should be visible and centered. No hiding near any corners. LinkedIn is not Instagram, no looking to the right or the left. It's nice, but it doesn't really work on LinkedIn. They need to see the whites of your eyes to generate that know, like, and trust factor. You need to show up, and it needs to be a headshot. It needs to be your head. Don't be standing far away. Don't be cropped out on a night out. It needs to be your face so that when you go into events, people recognize you. Now, I realize my hair is not as good as this photo, and that's slightly airbrushed, but hopefully post-lockdown, I will be looking more like this photo. But yeah, I believe head on, okay? Ask yourself these questions when it comes to your headshot. Is it a selfie? Is it well lit and professional looking? Is it current, like that guy I met? Is it 10 years old? Does it look like you? Okay. Do you look approachable? Be friendly and personable. I'm always shocked by how many people I see. Even I belong to a network, and I was recently reaching out to the members, and they had some lovely photos on the membership directory. And then I looked them up on LinkedIn, and it was the same photo shoot, but for LinkedIn, they had adopted this really severe, no smile, I'm on LinkedIn, this is business. And I think that's absolute rubbish. Be personable, be approachable. You want people to approach you, so be smiley. You don't have to be corporate or dour or serious on LinkedIn. It's your personal brand, so be approachable, please. And ask yourself, do the colors you've chosen reflect your brand? Are you dressed suitably for the profession you're representing? And ultimately, would you want to do business with the person in the photo? Okay. And I know what it's like when you first start out, especially if you're a professional and you don't have a headshot. You kind of think, oh, am I worthy of a headshot? Maybe you see the C-suite or the CEO has it, and you think, oh, well, actually, I don't think I deserve it. You all deserve a good headshot. and it makes such a massive difference. I remember getting my first one, and I would reach out to connect with people, and everybody connected with me. That one difference, like, it changed everything. The power of your personal brand. You're investing in yourself at the end of the day. So I would urge you all, get a professional headshot. It will make such a big difference. If you're feeling super brave, check out a site like photofeeler.com. You can actually load up your photo, and it's ranked by artificial intelligence and the general public, and they will give you a score in terms of likability, credibility, and influence. It is not for the faint-hearted. When I first put a few up there, I was getting like 33%. That one I have now scored 85%. And that's how I chose it. I thought, right, this is the one. And I've tried a few different colors. Blue seems to be very popular. But what I learned was it was all in the stance. It wasn't necessarily what you look like, you know, the hair or whatever. It was the pose. So previous ones I had, I was looking to the right or the left, maybe a bit shy, a bit more timid. They didn't score as high in the credibility or influence. And I can see why. So when you're just head on owning the shot, it's just more of a power pose, really. And yeah, check it out. Like I said, it is fun, but don't take it to heart, okay? Now, one thing I would just want you to be aware of when it comes to saving down your photos or any attachments that you're loading up to your profile, give them a good name. Don't just load up, you know, an image which is abcd.png or .jpeg. Call it your name. So my profile photo and cover photo, you can see they've got really long names, and yes, you can have them that long. You can stick the commas in. Think to yourself, what are the keywords that you want to be known for? Whether you're a professional or a business owner, what are your keywords, and stuff them into those names. And Google and LinkedIn will index those names within a few weeks. Okay. And like I said, this applies to anything you have attached to your profile. Now, you can't go to LinkedIn directly and change. So if you have not done this before, don't worry. You probably have to go in and delete off your photo, delete off your cover banner, save new ones on your desktop, and then upload. Okay. But that's there's a lot of search engine work here, just as you'd have a website, and on a website you have on the front page copy, and in the back end you have off-page SEO. The same applies to your LinkedIn profile. So it's all about those words, those keywords, and you need to have the right words to show up in searches. So now I'm going to briefly just jump onto the headline section, which is the area underneath your name. And I've got great news for everyone. This was limited at 120 characters on the desktop, but recently they've increased it to 220. So you've loads of space to shout out about what you do, and I'm going to go into what is the headline. Before I jump into it, I'm going to quickly touch on what's in a name. And you might think, how can you get your name wrong? And you would be absolutely surprised. I see so many people make errors with their names, you know. So first things first, your first and last name should always be written in full. Don't use any initials. So for me, my name is Jennifer Corcoran. I'm not going to put down J Corcoran or Jennifer C. You want your full names to be there. You want to come up in search. Always capitalize the first letter of each of your names. If you write everything in upper or lowercase, it just doesn't look professional. Stay consistent. As I mentioned at the start, consistency. You know, if you're known as Jen all the time, then it has to be Jen. If you're not, you know, don't use Jen one place and then Jennifer. Just be consistent with your name to build on that know, like, and trust. I wouldn't advise that you use any special characters or emojis or symbols within your actual name. Okay, by all means, you can stick them in your headline below, but don't put them in your name. And finally, LinkedIn allows you the option to include your maiden name in brackets if that's relevant for you and your career to date. Now, what is your headline? Well, your headline is not just your title, and it's probably the most common mistake made on LinkedIn. A lot of people think it is just your title, and they put down managing director or executive assistant, and that's it. And it's not enough, really. So I've got an example on the screen. We've got John Smith, translator, on the left, poorly optimized. You know, he's not going to show up in any searches, John, okay? There's a zillion translators on LinkedIn. If you do an optimized headline and you break it down into this formula of three things: who are you, which is your title. So your title is allowed, but it's a lot more. Who do you help, and how do you help them? Okay, so think of like an ABC. You need to have those keywords. So I've put in John Smith, London-based translator. London is a keyword. He's based in London, okay? He specializes in French, Spanish, and Italian. So they're all keywords. And he's also helping the hospitality industry. So somebody could go looking for John and they might type in London, translator, Italian, and he has a great chance of showing up. They're not going to find him if he's just translator. So your headline, it's a lot more than just your job title. 3 things to consider. Describe what you do. Ask yourself, how will people find you via the LinkedIn search functions, that little search bar? Is it via your job title or in a more general way? Whatever you choose, you have to be clear. It's all about clarity, okay? Don't be obtuse in your headline. Use proper keywords that people are going to search for. To quote Seth Godin, not everyone is your customer, so be clear in your headline as to who exactly you can help. If you only work with SMEs, put that in the headline. If you only want to work in London or Devon, put that in the headline. They are your keywords. Ask yourself what value, benefit, or expertise that you can add to your target audience using the most popular keywords within your industry or niche. So it's all about those keywords. If possible, you can include a proof point that will really elevate your headline and give you that bit of the X factor. So in mine, I've put in that I'm an award-winning LinkedIn trainer, which helps me personally to build on my credibility and authority. Now, I know a lot of you are probably still a little bit stuck, so hopefully this slide will help you with writing your headline. Some things to consider: your location, your industry and sector, any specialism that you wish to highlight, your years of experience. I've had people say, I don't want to put down 20 years or 30 years. It makes me feel old. And I'm like, no, it's ridiculous. It makes you look accomplished, credible. I trust you. So even if it's just experience, why not put it down? If you've won any awards or been shortlisted or nominated, your keywords, of course, your keywords, super important. Inject some personality if you can. I realize that some industries are a bit more formal than others. Whatever you do, be specific and use clear language. So I had one guy and he had inspiring leaders, inspiring minds for his headline. And I was like, what the hell do you do? I'm not going to find you by typing in inspiring, whatever. So be super clear, okay? Ask yourself at all times, does this headline align with my personal brand and does it effectively deliver my value? And your headline's not set in stone. You can mix it up. Now, they're the 3 things I've touched on today. And I just wanted to also just quickly touch on your SSI score so you can go away and check it. And if you want to share your SSI score, you can do that in the chat box. So what is your SSI? So it stands for Social Selling Index, and it's actually the metrics, the way you can measure how effective you are at LinkedIn, and it's built into the back of the LinkedIn platform. And to access this score, you click on the link on the screen here, and I'm going to put it on the next slide as well. And what it does is this score changes daily, okay? And it ranks you in 2 ways. Firstly, according to your industry. So for me, it ranks me along other social media trainers, and then your network at large. It tells you what percentage you're in. And it breaks it down into 4 quadrants. So how good you are at establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, so how often you're using search, engaging with insights and the analytics, and how good you are at building relationships. So it'll make a lot more sense when I go on to the next slide. Oh, not yet. So just in case you didn't catch the link, I've put this up here. You might want to copy and paste it down and then try and see what your score is. And once you put this up, this URL, and you've got LinkedIn open, it will go directly into the back of your account and it will show you this, okay? And this is mine as of today. So I'm in the top 1% of social media trainers on LinkedIn and the top 2% of my network at large. So I'm scoring 80 out of 100. If you've got 60 or above, you're doing well, okay? I would just say don't get too hung up on this score. It's a rough score for you to know how good you are, how optimized your profile is. Obviously, if you score 10, or 20 or 30 or 40, you have to optimize your profile. Okay, so I always say that my specialty is establishing professional brand, personal brand, and building relationships. So I score highest, and at the moment I'm scoring lower on using search and engaging with analytics because I haven't really been doing that in the last day or 2. Don't get too hung up in it, okay? But if you want to share your results in the chat so other people can see what other people have, by all means do it. I know I'm jumping on quickly. I did touch on this community briefly earlier on. I said I was number 1 on the LinkedIn ROCKSTARS community, and I just wanted to briefly explain what it is, because this is a community. It was set up by an American LinkedIn trainer a year or so ago called Brenda Meller, and every month she shares this list and it ranks she has a list specifically for LinkedIn trainers, and she also has a list for non-LinkedIn trainers, so any professional on LinkedIn. And she kind of checks over the month to see what growth you get in followers and how you jump up. So even though I'm quite small fry compared to some LinkedIn trainers who've been doing it for years and they might have 200,000 followers, I think I've currently got about 17,000. I had a massive jump in April and I jumped to the top of the list. I want you to check out the list, and I'm happy to share it with you later on if we connect, because I want to tell you, you know, I am a LinkedIn specialist. I specialize in the free version, but there's a lot of LinkedIn trainers out there that will help you as well. So people that specialize in premium or sales navigator or paid advertising, we all have different approaches. So you may want to go and follow all the LinkedIn trainers on the list and get some really good up-to-date LinkedIn information in your feed. And the whole reason, the whole kind of way that you qualify to be on the list is to become or to be a rock star. And I think you can all be rock stars listening here today. And I just wanted to break it down. This is what Brenda says you need to be to qualify to be on this list. So the R stands for a real desire to help. As I said at the start, it's all about giving back to your network. The O is for outstanding knowledge, so sharing your expertise. The C, caring attitude. K, kind and giving. Again, it's all about the giving to your community. S, super connections, connecting people. The T, it's all about trusting your network and building that trust. The A is actively engaged. Don't be passive. You have to be active to get LinkedIn working for you. And the R is relationship build. Don't just collect connections, actually have conversations with people and build, foster and nurture those relationships. So if we connect after, I'm happy to share the link to this so you can see. She usually updates it. I think she's probably going to update it this weekend, will be the next update. And I just wanted just touch on my success on LinkedIn for 2 seconds, just to say, you know, there's nothing super amazing about me. When I was an employee and a business owner, the 3 things I did to stand out and raise my profile, win awards, be involved in campaigns, is number 1, I'm social. Number 2, I'm consistent. Number 3, I give back to my community. So I think of others when I'm posting. Okay, so you can all do this. So my summary, I know this has been mad fast, guys, and thank you for bearing with me. So my summary today is 5 top tips. Number 1, be intentional. Okay, why are you on LinkedIn? What are you looking to achieve? You need to have a goal. You need to know why you're on LinkedIn. Number 2, be you. Okay, there's only one of you. That's your superpower. Don't compare yourself to anyone else on LinkedIn. Okay. First impressions count, and I've helped you today with those 3, that cover banner, that headshot and that headline, and your name. Okay, optimize your profile to attract your target audience. You need to have a good profile to attract people. It's your personal brand and it's your reputation, so it's worth nurturing. The 2 P's, profile, participate. Okay, and we've talked about participation on the home feed, messenger, in groups. And finally, be a giver. Okay, be social, be consistent, and cultivate a community. I'm going to just quickly go in this. I know we're kind of running over time. So next steps, if anyone needs more help, you can go to my website, which is www.mysuperconnector.co.uk, and you can download a free PDF checklist called LinkedIn Profile Success and print it off and go to your profile, and that will help you. Okay. If you need more help, if you want to talk to a specialist like me, if you want an audit on your profile, if you want an audit on your activity, if you want somebody to look at what you're posting, your content strategy or your connection strategy, I offer strategy sessions, which include audits. And I've also got an online program. So if anyone feels they need more help, they know all the theory, but they're not quite sure how to apply it, please reach out, because I love doing one-to-one. That's my favorite offering. I do small workshops, but in general, I love one-to-one because we're all different and I help people to use LinkedIn for them and their goals and their personality. I'm not going to tell an introvert to go off and make 10 million videos because it's not going to work. So if anyone wants to book in a free discovery call with me to chat about how I could potentially help you, you can go onto my Calendly link. I offer slots for 15 minutes and I stuck in before the webinar today. I think I've got about 30 slots in for July. So first come, first served if you want to go there. And if you don't get a slot, please feel free to reach out and email me or direct message me and I'll find a slot for you so that we can have a chat about how I can help you. That's it really. Thank you for listening. There's my LinkedIn URL again. Please reach out and connect. That's my website. And I'm going to quickly go